Saturday, 20th of May 2023. Welcome to the main news. To present it, my name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. Let's now look at some of the top stories in the news. Police gunned down one suspected criminal. MULAMBO HAIMBE grants mobile booth operators 50,000 kwacha revolving fund. BOWMAN LUSAMBO predicts the fail of the UPND. In international headlines, Zambia researchers probe sent to beat mosquito-borne diseases, and sports citizens urged to take physical activities as part of a lifestyle. We have the details of these headlines once after this break.
On Monday, 22nd May 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, the NDC President, Madam Savoy Imboila.
For me also, I'd like to urge the President, he should not support his ministers. When a case of corruption has been brought to the table, investigate, and that is why also from the onset, we've been condemning the fact that the SCC is under the President's office, because when it comes to the appeal process, the President should be the last person. But right now, the way it is, the President is the number one person.
As they discuss Zambia's economy and pertinent issues on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for joining us. In other news in detail. West scavengers in Lusaka's Kamwala South say they are being cheated by Chinese-owned recycling companies by offering them low prices for recyclable wastes. Speaking to Camnet News, one of the scavengers, Sheila Monga, the buyers says are paying them as low as 1 kwacha 15 way per 50 kilogram sack of waste comprising of bottles and other recyclable items, depending on what the buyers decide. Meanwhile, Global Entrepreneurship Network Zambia Managing Director Edwin Zulu says the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises should take a keen interest in the recycling industry and encourage scavengers to form cooperatives. We have details in this report.
With the call by Republican President Hakainde Hichilema for the country to move away from seeking white-collar jobs and go the entrepreneurship way, many stakeholders in the entrepreneurship sector have observed that the recycling industry has remained untapped by the Zambian community. This is because despite its potential to create local millionaires, as tons of waste is generated every day, many locals have continued being honest scavengers, getting paid very little by foreign-owned recycling companies. This is the situation of some scavengers in Lusaka's Kamwala South community who have narrated their plight.
Kuenda kupempa every day nilibe bunga oro nikumwana nilibe chakuti timazipanika kuno lelo lapanga mo ise kulibe isa wakati pasa 5 kwacha kumazuro ya ndiyo basi manje tipempa tandizo
timapima pa skelo monga utuma karakara
waronga musaka
ngwe kalonga msaka seje nizale mandeza tipasa ndrama ngani white plastic atipasa ma 1 kwacha tingafune monga makarazi batika kwa 1 kwacha 50 ngwe elo ma white 3 kwacha elo ja madish yaje atisa kwa 6 kwacha so elo tutuma heo loko 4 kwacha na ma utwa basa twinangu atisa kwa 2 kwacha na 12.
Meanwhile, Global Entrepreneurship Network Managing Director Edwin Zulu says locals can benefit massively from recycling if they are encouraged to form cooperatives under the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises.
How do we solve and give value to Zambians, SMEs or individuals who are now scavenging or called as scavengers? What we need is to take advantage of our government policy of the formation of the Ministry of SME and Cooperatives, because through a cooperative model, these women or youth entrepreneurs who want to venture into that sector, we can help them to form a cooperative enterprises. The other thing is that those raw materials or organic matter can be used for generation of electricity through biogas technology and so forth. And as I told you earlier, we have Chinese partners with both the technology for fertilizer manufacturing and also for biogas technology.
If properly managed, Mr. Zulu is of the view that the recycling industry could become a major business in Zambia and create other employment opportunities. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And now police in Lusaka have gunned down one suspected criminal, while another survived with gunshot wounds on the leg after the two parties engaged in an exchange of fire near Waterfalls shopping mall. Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the suspects are alleged to have been behind a spate of thefts from motor vehicles recently recorded by police in Lusaka. Mr. Mwale explains that the suspects are alleged to have broken into 4 different motor vehicles at Engine Filling Station and Waterfalls Mall and stole from therein money, laptops, cellular phones, subwoofer speakers and some handbags containing various documents. The police deputy spokesperson says on May 19, 2023, police officers conducted an intelligence-led operation at the mall where 3 people were spotted attempting to break into a Toyota Prado around 18 hours. He says the suspects noticed that police officers had seen them. They immediately abandoned the activity and sped off using a Toyota Belta bearing a fake number plate.
Fire ensued, and in the process, officers managed to deflate a tire of the Toyota Belta. 2 suspects jumped out of the vehicle after it could not move further and started running away. Officers gave chase and managed to apprehend one who was identified as Dixon Milanzi, aged 32, of Matero. When officers approached their motor vehicle, one of the suspects who occupied the back seat was found in an unconscious state with gunshot wounds on his back, while the driver was found with bullet wounds on his right leg. The 2 were rushed to Levi Mwanawasa Teaching Hospital, where one was pronounced dead upon arrival, while the one with bullet wounds, identified as John Jovu, aged 32, of Baraston Park in Lusaka, is receiving treatment at the same hospital. The body of the deceased has since been deposited in the University Teaching Hospital mortuary, awaiting formal identification and post-mortem. Police officers, upon searching the Toyota Belta, the vehicle which the criminals were using, recovered a pistol, 1 laptop, a subwoofer speaker, and some motor vehicle braking instruments. The laptop and the subwoofer speaker have since been positively identified by one of the complainants, identified as Moses Banda, aged 32, of Charleston area. The registration number plate of the vehicle used by the suspects was also discovered to be fake. The original number plate for the Toyota Belta is AID 359ZM. One suspect is detained in custody, while a manhunt for the other has been launched.
And now the Drug Enforcement Commission on the Copper Belt has arrested 4 males for being in possession of counterfeit notes amounting to 12,700 United States dollars and 89,500 kwacha. DEC Public Relations Officer Hussein Khan has named the suspect as Joseph Mpundu of Mufulira, John Lumbwe of Kasama, Elisha Londwe of Ndola, and Matthew Sandwe of Chiengi District. Mr. Khan says the suspects were apprehended in an operation conducted at a mall in Kitwe, and that both the Toyota Corolla they were in and the counterfeit notes have been seized. The 4 have since been detained in lawful custody and will appear in court soon. Mazabuka District Health Director Dr. Falon Mwawa has thanked Zambia Sugar PLC for accepting the request to work with government in refurbishing Ndeke Clinic, now known as Nakambala Urban Health Center. Dr. Mwawa says the intervention follows an infrastructure inspection on the clinic by the Mazabuka District Health Office, which revealed that the facility has several defects. Dr. Mwawa says the rehabilitation works will be on all the departments of the clinic, which includes the labor ward, outpatient department, maternal child health, environmental health, and voluntary counseling and testing. Other areas to be worked on are security post, waste management, registry, and the screening room. And one of the patients, Diana Limanda, says once refurbished, the health facility will provide patient confidentiality, noting that currently there are not enough rooms for proper privacy.
Do major renovations on the infrastructure. Literally the whole institution is going to be renovated and tiled and all that. So we would like to appreciate Zambia Sugar for that gesture, for accepting the request and being able to come through to support what the government is doing. Of course, that is going to improve a lot of quality in terms of what we are providing to the community. You need to be aware that a clean and conducive environment is very important to patient care, and it's a very important component to what we do for clients. And so we believe that the improvement in the infrastructure at the clinic will be able to provide a facelift to the institution, but also be attractive to our clients and patients who seek services, healthcare services from there.
Chizawama ngati Zambia Sugar wapotichitira renovate clinic because of our catchment area ni kulu. So tilibe na offices yambili, tilibe place yakuti bantu bangankale, because at times we need confidentiality. So rooms yambili tilibe, but ngati batichitira ko renovate tinga very because clinic yankara maningi there has not been renovations.
So if we are happy, so that even my workers, our nurses, doctors, in short, all the health workers, they will be happy to work in a good environment, because the company is supposed to do so as a social cooperative to plow back to the community where the factory is. If Zambia Sugar was so, when no more muscle, and we the community, we are happy to hear that. Zambia Sugar is doing something.
And now, former Lusaka Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO has alleged that the United Party for National Development, UPND, will lose the 2026 general election if they do not urgently deal with the mining challenges being faced on the Copper Belt. Addressing journalists at a media briefing in Lusaka Saturday, Mr. LUSAMBO says the people on the Copper Belt are angry and thus they have given government up to June to resolve the challenges, failure to which they will hold a demonstration. Meanwhile, Mr. LUSAMBO has advised President Hakainde Hichilema to send the former President Edgar Lungu to the Republic of China to sit down with the country's president and negotiate on Zambia's date. We have details in this story.
Opposition political party leaders seem to be responding to the call by Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema that those with solutions to the current economic challenges should come forth and offer the solutions rather than offering unnecessary criticisms. Former Lusaka Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO has joined the league of those advising President Hichilema on how to handle the Zambian economy. Addressing journalists at a media briefing in Lusaka Saturday morning, Mr. LUSAMBO has advised government to find a quick solution to the mining challenges on the Copper Belt before the end of June 2023, failure to which the people on the Copper Belt will protest.
Mr. President, if you lose Copper Belt province the way it is today, my advice to you is just start packing your bags, because 2026 is not yours. But President Tete Mukwate Vyama mistakes. Monse, agriculture, muli mistake. Health, muli mistake. Mining, muli mistake. Takwala. And our President, if we have a copper belt, not to me pay up to June. Ngatamwaka sorting ama problems, I have copper belt by June. We are going to mobilize ourselves and do demonstrations because enough is enough.
Meanwhile, Mr. Lusambo has advised President Hichilema to engage the former President Edgar Lungu to meet the Chinese president to negotiate Zambia's debt challenges.
President ngabaya ku China if you kwa special envoy. But China bakaya ba pocket of president no kubalolesha. Baka fumeko no kufumako. Tapali fika chitika. For President, my challenge is that go to your brother, President Lungu, and let President Lungu be your special envoy to China, so that we cross this.
On the other hand, the former minister also says it is rumored that the low sulfur diesel that is being currently imported into Zambia is of low quality and has been damaging vehicles, hence calling on the Energy Regulation Board to investigate the matter.
Information which we have, that fuel which we are bringing in, the diesel, it is not low sulfur. It is destroying the vehicles of the citizens. And we want you, Mr. President, to engage ERB and verify this information. Calculations are more equated with the opposition. Now, if I don't join, because to encourage. To encourage sana. Njebede Zambia nomba ya wama. A President Jopo Mwaishida, fia liluva, fionse fia liluva. So number for today twishikande number President fidabale tweva fia ya kwi so ndafo kwipisha mudamu chi state house limbi mwa vendosh pantu tete ba president mulabe fyonse of malela ya bantu.
The former minister has also touched on the high price that government has offered farmers for a 50-kilogram bag of maize and says it will affect the price of mealie meal, hence calling on the government to provide alternative solutions to cushion the high price of Zambia's staple food.
Tientumfileko abantu luse ba president. Soya beans shteni ba government. For any mpia mushte soya beans.
The former minister has since cautioned European countries to stop resolving African challenges outside of the continent but come to Africa and hold meetings pertaining to Africa on the African continent. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
New Heritage Party President Shala Kateka has urged the United Party for National Development UPND to put in place measures that will minimize the exploitation of farmers as they sell their soya beans to private buyers. This comes following the announcement by the Food Reserve Agency FRA that it will not be buying any soya beans in the 2023 crop marketing season. In an interview, Ms. Kateka has also urged the FRA to desist from making such sudden announcements, stating that farming is a business that requires planning. Details are in this report.
The recent announcement by the Food Reserve Agency FRA that it will not be buying any soya beans in the 2023 crop marketing season has sparked a lot of emotions from various stakeholders both in the agriculture sector as well as on the political scene. Soya bean farmers in Zambia have been advised to sell their product to private buyers as FRA has excess, having in store over 100,000 metric tons of carryover soya beans, which is what is needed to ensure food security in the country. In adding their voice over the matter, the New Heritage Party, through its president Shala Kateka, feel that the announcement is sudden, stating that it was the same FRA that encouraged farmers to plant soya beans in 2022. Ms. Kateka says it is therefore the duty of the current administration to see to it that soya bean farmers are not exploited by private buyers through putting in place necessary measures.
The FRA's announcement that they will be buying maize at 280 kwacha for the 2023 marketing season is a very commendable move. In addition to that, they have announced that they will be buying paddy rice at 200 kwacha Again, that too is very, very commendable. This is something that will encourage farmers to venture into producing or growing more of those crops. What is of concern to the New Heritage Party, however, is the announcement that FRA will not be buying soya beans this marketing season. Our concern stems from the fact that farmers across the country grew soya beans because they knew that, or they thought they knew that, they would be getting a good price for their crop. We as a party are concerned with this announcement, which they have justified as saying that they have adequate stock in hand. Our concern stems from the fact that the same FRA had encouraged farmers during the last farming season to grow soya beans.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Consumer Association ZACA, through its executive secretary Juba Sakala, has also called on government to put in place measures that will keep a 25-kilogram bag of breakfast meal below 250 kwacha, to see to it that citizens are not adversely affected, as FRA will be buying a 50-kilogram bag of white maize at 280 kwacha.
We expect them to struggle to get that bag of maize meal. Right now they're struggling at 180, which is they're buying the bag 150. Now if it goes to 280, definitely the price will go up. So for a consumer, it's quite a sad story. We're not happy about it. We hope government will try to find means and ways of stabilizing the prices of maize meal when people are buying at 280. So we hope government will find means and ways of probably stabilizing the prices so that they do not go probably beyond 250. It should be between maybe 200 and 250 so that most consumers can afford them.
The stakeholders have called for proper planning in the agriculture sector. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In our leadership movement party, President Richard Silumbe says that President Hakainde Hichilema should have used the presidential press briefing that was held on Thursday to address pertinent issues affecting the Zambian people, such as the high cost of living. Addressing the media Saturday, Mr. Silumbe says, while the president demonstrated through graphs how the current administration seems to be doing better than the previous administration within its short time in office, these are of no significance as long as ordinary Zambians are still struggling to access basic commodities. He has therefore advised the current administration to invest in productive sectors, stating that the country cannot keep relying on foreign direct investment for development. More in this report.
Zambia as a country is aggressively fighting to end hunger and poverty in all its forms, and these goals are placed as number 1 and 2 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which Zambia is signatory to, and only has 7 years until 2030, which is the scheduled deadline. Each administration that takes over government is therefore expected to drive these goals, and the now ruling United Party for National Development UPND rose on the platform of change, with the main emphasis being that of improving the lives of the Zambian people. The opposition leadership movement party, led by Richard Silumbe, Saturday morning took time to respond to the press briefing, which was held by President Hakainde Hichilema on Thursday, with the party president stating that the press briefing did not address some key components, such as the current high cost of living in the country.
We know that every Zambian out there knows the state of this country. We don't need some theorist, economist to draw some graph in an office and show us how this country is developing, whilst 100 kwacha that used to buy a bag of meal some 3 years ago can no longer buy that bag of meal. A 20 kwacha that used to have value some 3 years ago can no longer do anything. So that is the great tragedy that we are facing today. That's why it is folly for the leadership of the New Dawn government to tell the Zambian people that everything is fine. They are moving at a rocket speed towards development, and in their own imagination, things are better for the Zambian people, and yet the Zambian people are facing a different situation.
Other party members also gave alternatives to challenges affecting various sectors.
So lero musegule vimaboda vicha, musegule vimaboda notubugwira vantu mumezo kuchipata ukulero mtengo wa chiboi soya beans ni 4 kwacha 50 ngwe. Very manje abantu fertilizer nzo waya amutolo vachita chani. If it was Dr. President Sirumbelelo vamutolo sema tapasa matching orders vakangiwa.
If in 1 year 6 months the New Dawn government can manage to recruit 30,000 teachers, can manage to recruit 11,200 health workers, in 18 months, can they feel sure to recruit 4 million young people, engage them into production? 1 year 6 months, no salary, no pay. Zambians to say we have inherited an economy which is sick. So what we want is you, the Zambian people, you, the young people, with your energy, to come on board, sacrifice for the betterment of Mother Zambia, the way our forefathers, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda and other freedom fighters did. That's what we should do as well. We should learn from our forefathers.
We want to remind him that the Leadership Movement Party is here, and we will be here as we always do, always calling for such platforms so that we're able to echo our voices and give checks and balances to the government and also to the nation.
The party has urged the current administration to take time and consider implementing viable suggestions from various stakeholders, including the opposition, for the benefit of the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development UPND National Deputy Youth Spokesperson Phineas Pumulo says the party will not take lightly any UPND member found to be part of some bus drivers in Lusaka Central Business District parking their public service buses in undesignated places to evade council levies in the bus station. In an interview, Mr. Pumulo notes that such acts are perpetrating cadreism and going against the need to restore the rule of law that President Hakainde Hichilema has been calling for. He has urged the relevant authorities to continue pouncing on those contravening the law, as this is creating an impression that there is lawlessness under the UPND government. And Mr. Pumulo notes that the excuse of bus stations lacking space should not be taken into consideration, as many bus stations have remained abandoned by bus drivers.
Lawlessness in this country, we are not going to condone it. Whether you are UPND, your other political party, the president made a directive, and every member of UPND or any other citizen must follow the directive of the president. We are given the 5-year mandate of the Zambian people to govern this country, and in these 5 years, allow the UPND and the president to work peacefully to make sure that all our policies are flowing. We have also discovered that there are those few drivers who are being sponsored by the PF to cause confusion within the CDB. We are not going to allow that. We have identified them, and we have seen why cadreism is not completely being flushed out within the CDB. The reason is very simple. These are our colleagues. They are sponsoring a few individuals to cause confusion. And once that individual is if he has been checked out of the station, what do? They run to the court, and they want to blame the UPND. What we are trying to do, we need to make sure that sanity, rule of law, and order in the bus station, in the markets, taxi ranks, even in the street, is maintained.
We'll take our first break. We'll be right back shortly after the commercial breaks.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbanda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
On Monday, 22nd May 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, the NDC President, Madam Savoy Imboila.
For me, also, I'd like to urge the President, he should not support his ministers. When a case of corruption has been brought to the table, investigate, you know. And that is why also from the onset, we've been condemning the fact that the SCC is under the President's office. Because when it comes to the appeal process, the President should be the last person. But right now, the way it is, the President is the #1 person.
As they discuss Zambia's economy and pertinent issues on TSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Siavonga Town Council has noted with concern the escalating number of continued cutting down of trees and charcoal burning activities in the district. Council Chairperson Given Kwapu, who led a team from Worldwide Fund WWF and traditional leadership representative from Chief Simamba to a forest in Namwele village, Sinandabwe area, says the uncontrolled burning of forest is slowly turning the forest into a desert. The council chairperson has since called upon the international funders to continue funding government through stakeholders such as WWF to help fight against climate change, which is a battle at international level. Meanwhile, Chief Simamba's representative Fanua Simamba says climate change challenges are urgent matters which needs concerted efforts from all stakeholders to fight, and that if left unattended to, the whole universe will be lost.
Where we are here, this place that we see was once a closed forest, but due to charcoal burning, this is how bare it is today. But however, we feel there is still a room for the trees to regenerate. However, we have a challenge when it comes to uncontrolled fires. These small trees that we have seen around for Mopani are not able to regenerate because of one reason. At the time when these small trees offshoots are about to grow, they are usually disturbed by the fires. So what we want to encourage is that using the both political and traditional leaders, we are supposed to fight this vice. We bring it to a stoppage.
This is a good step forward with the local authority focusing on, seeing ways how we can restore and protect the forest. WWF is committed, in the current strategic plan to restoring thousands of hectares of forest. So this is really a welcome move that we are really looking forward to collaborate meeting with the stakeholders, and hopefully the people on the ground as well will see the importance of us conserving nature, because we need nature for us to survive as human beings.
We have this very, very serious problem indeed. We're grateful that our partners, the WWF and the council here, through the council chairperson, that you have found time to come and see for yourselves and actually hearing it from third parties. I want to echo or support what the council chairman has said. Anyway, to win it, you must have concerted efforts by all concerned, by all beneficiaries. We must fight as a team, and once we fight as a team, we are convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that we will definitely win the war. We are grateful that the government.
And now, Chasefo Town Council Public Relations Officer Vernon Moema says the local authority has paid out a sum over 2 million kwacha to 100 groups under the 2023 Constituency Development Fund Empowerment Grants. Mr. Moema says that this follows the approval for release of the said funds by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development through the Provincial Local Government Office. Mr. Moema further says the government has approved about 2.9 million kwacha, 26 successful applicants under the Constituency Development Fund Empowerment Loans for the year 2023. This brings the total to about 5.1 million kwacha that the council has disbursed under the Youth, Women and Community Empowerment Loans and Grants components of the Constituency Development Fund. He says beneficiaries under the Youth, Women and Community Empowerment Grants are therefore urged to come to the Civic Center beginning Monday, 22nd May 2023 for the collection of introductory bank letters that will enable them access the funds in their bank accounts.
We wish to inform the public that government has approved a sum of 2,900,468 kwacha for 26 successful applicants under the Constituency Development Fund loans for the year 2022, bringing the total, therefore, that the council is expected to disburse under the Women and Community Empowerment Loans and Grants component for the Constituency Development Fund to 5,067,968. Beneficiaries under the Youth, Women and Community Empowerment Grants are therefore urged to come to the Civic Center beginning Monday next week for the collection of introductory bank letters that will enable them access the funds in their respective bank accounts. The list of these successful beneficiaries has since been stuck in strategic points of the district and has been shared with ward development committees. For the beneficiaries under the Youth, Women and Community Empowerment Loans, be informed that they will only access the funds from the bank accounts upon undergoing a financial literacy training program that will be carried out by the bank on the date that will be communicated in due course. It is therefore the hope of the local authority that the beneficiaries will effectively utilize the funds they will collect in order to transform their lives, thereby making government's agenda of tackling rural poverty a reality.
Lusaka Central Member of Parliament Mulambo HAIMBE says mobile money agents need to be granted access to the booster loans like marketeers to help them grow their businesses. Speaking Saturday morning when he addressed mobile money agents operating in Lusaka Central Business District, Mr. HAIMBE says the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission should generate a scheme for the mobile money agents just like marketeers. The lawmaker has since announced that his constituency office has to this effect contributed an amount of 50,000 kwacha towards the formation of a revolving funds that should help the agents in times of emergency. And Mobile Money Business Association President Pamfred Hasweka says the association is delighted to have the meeting with the MP and added that the suggested initiatives such as the booster loans and revolving funds will help the service providers. Mr. Hasweka says mobile money business is a secure business that could also be given access to financial empowerment as they have the capacity to pay back. He added that the association is currently engaging with key stakeholders such as Zambia Information and Communication Authority ZICTA to look into the security of the agents as they have recorded an increasing number of fraudulent reports. We take our last break. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
On Monday, 22nd May 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, the NDC President, Madam Savoy Imboila.
For me, also, I'd like to urge the president, he should not support his ministers. When a case of corruption has been brought to the table, investigate, you know. And that is why also from the onset, we've been condemning the fact that the SCC is under the president's office. Because when it comes to the appeal process, the president should be the last person. But right now, the way it is, the president is the number one person.
As they discuss Zambia's economy and pertinent issues
on TSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
In our international news, researchers in Zambia have built a unique facility to test how and from how far away mosquitoes can smell their human prey. The researchers hope to use their findings to create new ways to fight against mosquito-borne diseases like malaria. In other international stories, the war in Ukraine continues to dominate G7 summit discussions on the second day of the summit. Now that is set to continue on Sunday when President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to address the leaders and appeal for more help. Here's a roundup of international news.
They see you in the distance, they sense your breath, and they feel the heat of your skin. But despite their tiny brains, mosquitoes probably smell you first, from far away. This is a special facility for simulated blood-sucking, a 1,000 cubic meter box in the Zambian forest enclosed by nets with 6 pods for real humans to sleep in.
We like to think of it as the world's largest perfumery for mosquitoes.
Each tent is connected to a heated landing pad fitted with infrared cameras that watch as hungry mosquitoes look for a nightly feed. The researchers who built it are trying to understand how the bugs pick their victims.
And this is quite similar to what a mosquito would experience in nature. When the African malaria mosquito actually enters a home, it actually has to follow warmth currents emitted from the human body of sleeping humans, and often humans are housed in groups. It's quite a busy smelling task for the mosquitoes.
Malaria, a parasite that is carried by mosquitoes, kills more than 500,000 people every year, and nearly half of the world is exposed to it.
It's quite surprising that mosquitoes also have a quite complex nervous system. Their brain actually looks orthologous or similar to our brain, believe it or not. A very, very tiny insect with a powerful sense of smell.
Under the camera, one of the landing pads. It's warm and it emits carbon dioxide just like us, but there are no human scents. So no mosquitoes. Another, same conditions, but with some characteristic human smells. A third, and now the smells are different. The researchers are assembling a menu to isolate the most irresistible whiffs.
We are actually developing synthetic compounds. For example, you can actually poison them, for example, so that they are lured to a specific trap and then poison them so that you reduce the biting of these vectors on humans.
Although the battle against malaria is waged across many fronts, this could help us understand why and how malaria-carrying mosquitoes find us in the night.
The more you understand the enemy, the better equipped you are in fighting the enemy. So it feels very, very, I don't know what word to use, but it's very exciting.
President Volodymyr Zelensky arrives at the G7 summit and the world, it seems, stops to watch. At the International Media Center, crowds gather around the monitors for a glimpse of the Ukrainian leader arriving on a plane provided to him by France. But the planes he's most interested in now are F-16 fighter jets, after a decision by the US finally to allow their delivery to Ukraine.
We've reached a moment where it is time to look down the road and to say, what is Ukraine going to need as part of a future force to be able to deter and defend against Russian aggression as we go forward? F-16's fourth-generation fighter aircraft are part of that mix.
This second day of the G7 has been focused on a range of themes, from the global economy to the climate crisis.
And we're launching a new joint initiative to accelerate a transition to clean energy, including by building more resilient critical mineral supply chains.
There have been expanded sessions for invited world leaders, including those from the poorer countries of the so-called Global South that richer nations have often been accused of ignoring. In welcoming guest world leaders, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida recognized the complex problems facing the world. They are crises that have been worsened by the Ukraine war, that according to its critics, the G7 is failing to address.
If the G7 wants support for the war in Ukraine from the Global South, then it's in their interest to cancel debts, to put more money on the table for food, to show that they understand the kind of ripple effects of the Ukraine conflict on the poorest people.
The extended guest list includes many neutral world leaders whom Zelensky would like to win over to his cause. But the visit also gives him more in-person time with the G7 leaders, who so far have been his biggest backers. To accommodate Zelensky's presence, the final day of this G7 summit is being extended, illustrating his global stature. The chance to be feted by the world's richest and most powerful nations is a major victory for him and another likely source of resentment for an excluded Russia.
Let's look at sports news now. Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts Elvis Nkandu has advised citizens to regard fitness activities seriously if the fight against non-communicable diseases is to be won. Speaking when he officiated at the Bankers Sports Day Saturday, organized by the Zambia Institute of Banking and Financial Services in partnership with the Bankers Association, Mr. Nkandu acknowledged the need to adopt fitness activities for the country's better health. And Bankers Association of Zambia chairperson Nzinga Melu has encouraged the persons in the financial and the banking sector to adopt fitness activities as they impact the mental and physical health of everyone. She says the Bankers Sports Day is crucial in addressing some negative health patterns among staffs in the financial sector. Here is a report.
And in a speech read on behalf of the Bankers Association of Zambia chairperson Nzinga Melu, Association Chief Executive Officer Leonard Mwanza advised personnel in the financial sector to adopt fitness activities as they impact their mental and physical health away from their financial duties.
As we've already heard, this year's theme for the Bankers Sports Day is building on health and not just wealth. The selection of this theme is no mere coincidence. I think we are told that being health is not just about mental health, the physical health. You also need to be mentally health, but more important, you also need to be financially health or economically health. So we do recognize that financial-wise, do not just affect your bank account.
Meanwhile, Zambia Institute of Banking and Financial Services President Moses Shuko says it is imperative for the human resources across all sectors to be in good health conditions.
Human resources are the most important resource of every financial institution. It therefore goes without saying that this critical resource needs to be in top form in order for it to serve its customers and the nation better. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's Sports Day theme provokes a very positive attitude in the minds of professionals who are here today. And this is to understand that there exists a positive relationship between health and wealth creation. A health profession is a productive asset in the workplace, and their productivity results in building a healthy and resilient financial sector. Because without good health, even the most effective employee.
And Zambia Medical Association Vice President Dr. Patricia Shinondo was on hand.
Something that needs to be highlighted is the fact that health isn't merely absence of physical disease or physical ailment. Health includes mental well-being, social well-being, because a healthy nation is a productive nation. So when you talk about outputs, you talk about targets, you talk about meeting goals, you must really prioritize health care. And again, not just lack of physical ailment.
Nelson Zulu, Camnet News in Lusaka.
On that sporting item, we come to the end of the main news this evening. Let's look at some of the top stories in our news. Police gunned down one suspected criminal. MULAMBO HAIMBE grants mobile booth operators 50,000 kwacha revolving fund. BOWMAN LUSAMBO predicts the fall of the UPND government. Zambia researchers probe sent to beat mosquito-borne diseases. In sports, citizens urged to take physical activities as part of a lifestyle. We now look at the Camnet verse for today, coming from Romans 6 verse 23, which reads, "For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord." Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisiana Lupumbo. It's bye for now. God bless and have a lovely weekend.